Hello, and welcome to the Week 10 edition of the Monster Pod here on TheLines.com. Matt Brown, Mo Noir, and we are going to run through each and every game, let you know any bets in our account, any leans we have, and any games that we absolutely hate. I'm coming off a nice little 0-3 prop night on Thursday, so it can only get better for me, Mo.
Well, yesterday was a great day for me, I have to say. I had some Bengals +6, and I think I might have record Jamar Chase ownership in fantasy this year. So
yes,
some
you're already
major
done.
damage.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you're already home basically in every single
one of my
those.
leagues. I scored like 80 points already, and
oh, it's so good. That feels really good whenever you're doing that. Not even heading into a weekend here, guys. I want to give a little bit of a disclaimer as we head into this. So I do a live show on Sunday evenings, and so I'm watching these lines populate like in real time. And so I have a bunch of bets. Good on me, because CLV bets always win, right? No, they do not. But I have a bunch of bets in my account this week where the lines don't exist anymore. So I'll let you, just for reference, give you the bet that I made, and then we will talk about the current lines and whether they will be bettable now at this point. But just want to make that disclaimer because everyone likes to brag about the number that they got, but what good does that do you watching this here on a Saturday or a Sunday, right? So I get it, and we'll try to do that. But one game I do not have a bet in, so interesting to get things kicked off here. Over in Munich, Germany, the Giants and the Panthers, this is all the way out to 6.5, Mo, a total of 40.5. What do people know that I don't? Because this is 4.5, then it gets to 5, then it gets to 5.5, then it gets to 6, then it gets to 6.5. Like, people just flooding money in on this Giants team. Like, I get it. The Panthers are bad, but holy mackerel. The Giants got to win at margin now. They got to win by a touchdown.
yeah, as our buddy Rich Ryan likes to say, never lay points with bad teams. So absolutely no way you could get me to take the Giants. I'm actually pretty tempted to bet the Panthers, but I don't know. I tried fading the Panthers last week, and I'm scared that this is just me overreacting to one decent performance. Basically, the one thing we know that the Panthers can do is, literally the only thing they do well as a team is run the ball. So they're just going to have to try to have success with that here. And could they? I mean, maybe. This Giants defense, only thing they really do is get interior pressure.
Yeah.
Thing is, I don't really see how they can exploit these corners. That's kind of the problem I have here. And I've seen Bryce Young under pressure. It's really ugly. So I don't know. I'll probably just pass. But I do think this line is too high.
Yeah, I guess I should say this and it won't get there, but it's like, I think at 7, it would be a play for me. And and it's just a deal where I would hate it and I'd hate the click, and, it might be 10-0 or something, like the game could be like 10-0, and I lose the bet. But it's just like, if it got to 7, I would be too tempted. I'm with you. It's just like, it is a bad Giants football team. And if I laid the points with the Giants and Daniel Jones turned the ball over 3 times in this game and the Panthers got a defensive score and that's how they kept this thing within 6.5, I would feel like an idiot because I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a likely outcome. So just tough for me to get there.
Yeah, and Bryce, he is playing a bit better, and he does seem to have like some rapport with some of these guys. Coker and this rookie tight end, Jatavian Sanders, have been racking up the targets. So their offense is playing a bit better. I'm a little concerned about Ike Ekwonu missing this one, it looks like, potentially. So, yeah, the Panthers' O-line has actually been okay, I think. So
yeah,
if that goes south at all against a pretty tough Giants pass rush, I could see things going very poorly again. But do I want to bet on the Panthers buying a little bit high after they had a good game? Not really.
San Francisco 49ers on the road at the Tampa Bay Bucks, another game that has been on the move. This was opened about 5.5 all the way to 6.5 at this point in favor of the 49ers. 50.5 is the prevailing total out there. Mo, it looks like we're going to get Christian McCaffrey back for the 49ers. If you believe beat writers, which I have no reason to not. They've done me right more than they've done me wrong. Apparently, Christian McCaffrey looks like Christian McCaffrey out there at practice. Like, apparently it was like the dude never was injured. So I guess I believe that. I guess I'm going to believe that Christian McCaffrey is coming into this, at full health. And this Bucs team, as we know, is not.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really scary injury report for the Bucs. I think even Baker Mayfield hasn't practiced.
Yeah.
It's rough. I think it was Cleve TA that tweeted about like he only has like a few games in his database where a team has this much of a rest disadvantage because this is obviously like this is bye versus Monday night, so it's ultra rest disadvantage, and then also that team faced greater than 80 plays or something because the Chiefs were doing their usual success rate thing against the Bucs on Monday night. So just moving the sticks and just tiring out this team. And it kind of reminds me of, do you remember that game a couple years ago when it was, I think it was the game Tua's head got mashed, Dolphins, Bengals, where it was like they were on the Monday to Thursday or something, or Sunday night to Thursday, and they faced like 90 plays from the Bills the week before, and everybody was piling on Bengals minus like 4.5, and I just stupidly took the contrarian side, and well, I don't know. Who knows if, the injury was the reason they didn't cover,
Right.
but yeah, like it's a scary spot for the Bucs, man. It really is. That being said, this line is pretty high. You couldn't make me take the Bucs though, given the situation, really.
Yeah, so again, the full disclosure stuff. So I played the 5.5 on the 49ers. Of course, that is no longer there. It's all the way on the other side of 6 now. That said, I don't think I could find myself taking the points with the Bucs. As you said, this injury report is about as bad as it gets. And then you look at the 49ers, and I understand that you're down Ayuk, but it looks like you're going to get Juwan Jennings back. It looks like you're going to get it looks like Nick Bosa is going to be fine. Looks like Christian McCaffrey's back out there. So all of this stuff that we were kind of like knocking this team about, other than Travarius Ward, but he's DNPing due to like a personal matter. So I don't know if that means he won't play or if he'll be back out there at practice on Friday. You're kind of getting like the best version of the 49ers we've seen in a while comparatively to maybe the worst version of the Bucs that we've seen in a while. So I think I could only be on the Niners here in this one. I don't think I could see myself taking the points with the Bucs.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, and then they're just gonna blitz a lot, like they always do. And Kyle Shanahan's a smart coordinator, so I think he's gonna have the answers for that. We have seen them thrash this defense in the past, so just not a side I'd be looking to take.
Falcons on the road at the Saints. This is out to 3.5. Could be on our way to 4. Juice 3.5s at some of the books out there. 46.5 is the prevailing total. We know what we kind of get in this Saints team. Chris Olave not going to be out there. Very scary injury for him. We have Alvin Kamara, who's basically just been the only dude that's been able to produce anything for the Saints offense. And Derek Carr at least will be back for the second game after having to miss several games due to an oblique injury on the Falcon side of things. We've seen some DNPs. We've seen some weird stuff going on with them as well. I looked into it, Mo, to see if I could get any further insight. It seems like the beat reporters think that it's going to be okay, that everyone's going to be fine. Like we shouldn't be worried about Kyle Pitts and all these guys and stuff. But again, that's us and Drake London and whatnot. But these are things that we'll figure out with the Friday injury report. But as we sit right now, what we know, 3.5. What do you think?
Yeah, the Drake London thing, it sounds like a pain management thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping he goes, since I just dealt Kamara for him in one of my leagues. But man, I took the ultra gross Saints here, 3.5. Just big number kind of for a divisional home team. I know the Falcons are kind of rolling right now, but I wasn't super impressed with their basically I thought they were going to truck the Cowboys defense on the ground harder. So the fact that they didn't, and then you do have some injuries in the pass catching crew, and you have a Saints team that we should see a dead cat bounce from the coaching change. I mean, you can't be any worse basically than Dennis Allen. It's pretty well documented how he's like 35% against the spread or whatever, just like all-time worst type of numbers. So I think the change has to maybe be a positive there, and a Falcons defense that is beatable. I know Olave's out. Taysom being back is actually kind of big. He helps them quite a bit, especially when you have these types of injuries to the receiving core. So I think, and honestly, just rule of just bet the team that played the worst last week. I don't think you can do any worse than losing to the Carolina Panthers. So, especially when you look at the way that game played out statistically, I mean, they just kept settling for field goals after long drives. They let the Panthers basically have all the success possible in their own red zone trips. So it was just basically a red zone type of game. I think I saw some stats that it was like 275-0 going into that game when a team like won the turnover battle, won all these other stats, and they were the first team to lose in several hundred games. So I mean, probably okay to just buy a little bit low on the Saints and I took the gross 3.5. There was some 4s earlier in the week, but yeah, I kind of think this should be 3.
So this opened at 3. I did put in on the Falcons mainly because of the secondary injuries that we have with the Saints. And now that they trade away Lattimore, Kool-Aid McKinstry doesn't look like he's going to play yet again. And so we're not only getting second string corners, but we're probably getting like third string corners and stuff at this point. And I just wonder what the breaking point is for the defense just not to be able to stop anybody doing anything. I'm willing to be kind of proven wrong here. I wouldn't play it at 3.5. So on the other side of 3, I think your side is good. But for me, I do have a little bit of apprehension as to where the Saints end up stopping teams basically moving forward. It's going to be rough. So that's my take here. I'm not incredibly impressed by this Falcons team, though. Unfortunate because I have an incredible amount of money invested in them in this season. But they might end up winning the division anyway, and so that'll cash. But don't love that team for sure. Denver Broncos on the road at the Kansas City Chiefs. This is out to 7.5 in favor of the Chiefs. 41.5 to 42 is our total here. So this opened 9.5, Mo. So people came in and were just scooping those up with the Denver Broncos. I don't know if that was just your typical case of, hey, it's 9.5 and a 42 total, and that's almost an auto bet in a lot of different cases. But down to 7.5, we're still on the other side of a touchdown, however, here in favor of the Chiefs.
I think the move's probably fair. I had 7.5 as my fair, but like you said, these are just like pretty much dead numbers, so I don't really know what the move means. I don't like backing bad quarterbacks in Arrowhead. It's a very tough environment. That being said, there is one concern I have with this game, and it's basically that the Chiefs like to play a lot of man. They like to blitz. Steve Spagnuolo, they're usually top 5 in man coverage most of the time. This year they're sitting 8th, I think I saw, coming into this week because I was looking at some matchup stuff with this game. And the Chiefs, one time they played a running quarterback was Lamar Jackson. He went for 122 yards. And honestly, very few of those were designed runs from my memory. I think he was just scrambling a lot. That's really my main concern here. I don't think they're going to have much success in the passing game. The Chiefs' offense is looking much crispier right now. If I'm betting this game, I think just Bo Nix over rushing, man. I think it's going to be a game where he runs for some yards.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought that up. So I looked at that as well. So with the Chiefs, they're running too high at the second highest rate in the league right now. And so it's pretty crazy because I think that Bo Nix it's going to be this kind of like bend but don't break thing, right? Where it's like Bo Nix probably will complete the 6-yard, 6-yard passes. You remember that one half where he had friggin' negative yards at half because he's throwing everything behind the line? I can almost see another game where it's something like that, where he sees 6 yards, he runs. Well, he does they just take what is given to them, and then once they get to the 30-yard line, then the Chiefs start playing hard defense, and then they can't do anything with it. So I couldn't take the points. I think this is probably teaser leg of the week, probably. I mean, the Chiefs are going to win. It's just, do they win at margin? I guess you and I are at least a little skeptical they get on the other side of the touchdown here. But, I mean, you take this down to whatever. Even if you play just an alt line parlay, essentially, just, move it 5 points and take it down under the 3, I would feel pretty comfortable there. The other side of a touchdown, for whatever, why do the Chiefs not like to cover big numbers? It's the weirdest thing. It gets these big numbers, and for whatever reason, it just never gets home.
Yeah, I think part of it might be Andy just understanding that he needs to play the long game just coming in with vanilla game plans, getting workman-like 7-point wins, And so often you see, I think maybe more than any other team over the past 5 years, nobody wins more football games kneeling it out on the opposing 20 than the Chiefs, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so, they could, in theory, be scoring more points in some spots, and they – take the gentleman's kneel out on the 20, and that's that's a powerful thing.
It is.
That's a flex.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I did like what I saw from this offense this past week, though. So I think we might be moving into the best version of the Chiefs right now, which is scary. They haven't lost a game yet, so that's actually pretty scary. Bills on the road at the Colts. The screen is lighting up and people are betting the Bills. So this is out to 4 at most of the places now. 47.5 is the total. Joe Flacco, of course, is your quarterback here for the Colts. Didn't really do him any good last week. Mo, what say you this week at home against the Bills?
I like this offense to bounce back for sure. I was looking at this total. It's pretty high. I'm still a little bit tempted to go over the total here. Just Joe Flacco, he has had better games, obviously, than last week. And then you have a Bills team that is 24th in pressure rate, 31st in blitz rate. The guy is a statue, obviously, so getting pressure on him is just the end of the play, basically, in a lot of cases. So the fact that probably won't happen that much, you got an indoor track here, and you have a Bills team that is looking pretty good when they face non-elite competition right now. I feel like both teams are going to score. So that being said, it's already at 47. So I just don't know if I can go over that when the Bills are – we know what the Bills want to do. They just want to pound the rock.
Yeah, it's interesting. We don't talk about these before we come on here. So this was at 46 earlier. I took the over on the 46. 47 gets into that key-ish number if you believe in key numbers when it comes to totals and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm kind of like that. I think the Bills can play into the low 30s in this, like if they actually do what I think that they can do against this Indianapolis defense. And then I'm not asking very much from Joe Flacco and the Indianapolis Colts then at that point to get me there. Everything that we hear is Amari Cooper will be back. Keon Coleman, I guess, is at least a little bit questionable, but Curtis Samuel looks like he'll be back.
Out.
He's out?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Curtis Samuel, no good.
No, Keon Coleman's out.
Oh, Keon Coleman
He's
already
definitely out, yeah.
Okay, yeah, already out. But Curtis Samuel looks like he might be back. Not that Curtis Samuel is Keon Coleman, but you get whatever. You at least get one of the starters back in there for this. I don't think the Colts offense is as bad as we saw last week. So I'm going to kind of do the whole benefit of the doubt thing. I might look stupid when they score 10 points again this week. And if that's the case, then, maybe I need to reevaluate with all that. But I don't know. I was watching that game, Mo, and I'm like, I know Joe Flacco's old and probably washed and all of that, but like, he's not this bad.
Yeah, there's just no way he's that bad. So I think it's a good bounce back spot against the Bills defense that we have seen play well at times, but also the Colts have done well attacking this team, especially on the ground in the past. Jonathan Taylor had that insane game against them a couple of years ago where he ran all over them and they won at home, I think. So, I just worry about, I guess, there being a lot of runs in this game on both sides, probably successful runs and the clock kind of churning. But I think both offenses should definitely have success.
All right, Pittsburgh Steelers on the road at the Washington Commanders. This has been an interesting game all week long. Flip-flop between 3 and 2.5 all week, and you can still find both numbers out there currently in the market. 44.5 all the way to 45.5 out there in the markets as well. So the total is like not in agreement across the industry. Just a really wild kind of way that this one's gone down, Mo. We know the Steelers coming off of a bye, so if you believe that one extra week of Russell Wilson working with these, with the offense and the receivers and stuff, they bring in Mike Williams. Don't know how much of an impact he's going to make right off the bat, but there is at least one more guy for him to throw the yellow balls to downfield. And to be fair, Mike Williams is only in this league because he's really good at catching 50-50 balls. So, like, he probably went to the perfect place. I mean, like Russell Wilson just backing up and hucking it 35 yards down the field and say, hey, Mike Evans, like, catch 50% of these, whenever I throw them down there. So, very interesting. Did you fall on one side or the other here?
Leaning Washington. I'm a little bit tempted at 2.5 to play them. I kind of like the over as well. This is one where I just think the way the Steelers defend and the way, they get so much value out of their pass rush, and you have a guy in Jaden Daniels who is extremely hard to sack, very good on the pressure to sack numbers. I think it kind of mitigates the biggest strength of the Steelers defense, He's just, his awareness is so good. He's been so good at getting, nobody can catch the guy if he gets moving. So, yeah, and at the same time, you have a Washington secondary that they bring in Marshawn Lattimore. I think he's still hurt. He has not practiced. Probably doesn't know the system that well. I don't think he's going to go. So these Washington DBs are going to be at a big disadvantage against George Pickens, and the Steelers they're looking okay on offense.
And there
man.
you go.
So,
right as soon as we say that, a notification: Dan Quinn, Marshawn Lattimore will not play this Sunday. So there we go.
I think that's doesn't surprise me at all. So I kind of like the over. I kind of like Washington. Undecided on pulling the trigger here, but those are the ways I lean here.
Yeah, I'm not cherry picking here. I just want to at least bring up the fact that I think that we look at this Washington defense and because of the overall statistics, which the first month of the season, they were so god awful that it has skewed some of the stuff. But if you go and okay, let's give them a month to figure things out. And if you start in week 5, they're actually 8th in the NFL in EPA per play allowed on the defensive side of the ball, right? So Washington's defense has at least figured out at least a little bit of something going on. I'm not saying that they're good by any stretch. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm saying that they're not god awful out there, because I think everyone just has this impression when you look at this overall season statistics that this team is just absolutely wretched, which they were wretched the first month of the season for sure. There's no doubt about that. But if you start at week 5, they at least kind of started to figure some stuff out. And I think that had to, Mo, for me, as I was starting to try to reevaluate some of these teams, right? Because I'm to the point of the season now where my priors are gone, right? I the priors I don't care about anymore really at all, because between injuries and the way that I've seen these teams play for 2 months, et cetera, okay, I've got to look at what these teams actually are in the NFL this year. And I just thought this Washington defense was literally going to be a bottom 5 unit all season long. And so the fact that they're not, I have to kind of reprogram my brain to not just instantly go to the fact of oh yeah, but the other team's just going to fucking wreck the defense, which isn't necessarily the case.
I think they get a lot of value from their coaching, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, because it's like you said, you looked at this roster of the preseason, we all did, and we're like, how are they going to stop anybody? Mm-hmm. No pass rush to speak of, and then you look and they're 7th in pressure rate. It's how are they doing that? Well, it's got to be or 9th in pressure rate, 7th in adjusted sack rate. I mean, I think they're just scheming up a lot of stuff, and I give a lot of credit to Dan Quinn, man. I mean, the whole coaching staff has done very well, but you at least saw a path to this offense being pretty good because, if Jaden Daniels is very good, Terry McLaurin we know is very good. They have 2 good running backs. You could see this offense being good. I'm stunned that the defense has been even competent. So I give the coaching staff a lot of credit.
Yeah, I'm with you. For me, it's 2.5 on Washington or pass. I am not saying the Steelers. I will preface this by saying that I'm certainly biased because I thought the Steelers were kind of smoke and mirrors through that first part of the season as it was anyway. And I do think that Russell Wilson probably gives them a little bit better chance to win because Justin Fields refused to push the ball down the field, and at least Russell Wilson brings that element to this offense and probably to the skill set of Mike Williams and George Pickens as well. So I'm willing to say that I was wrong at least a little bit from the Pittsburgh perspective, but dude, a lot of their success was him just hucking it down the field, getting pass interference calls, George Pickens making circus catches and stuff like that. And that's not to say that he won't do that once a game, but happening 4 and 5 times a game, which it has the last couple of weeks, I just don't think is replicable. So again, I'm willing to be proven wrong. Maybe that is just how this offense is going to function for the rest of the season. And if so, then again, I'll reprogram my brain, but I just don't know that you can do that on week in, week out basis.
Yeah. I mean, George Pickens does have a true talent level for making those tough catches, obviously.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a good marriage with this receiving core and Russ. And then I think back to that Indianapolis Pittsburgh game where I bet the Colts, and I literally was just thinking, okay, these are two like similarly matched teams, but you have one quarterback who wants to be a nit, and you have one quarterback who's going to play like a maniac and push the ball downfield. Well, I'm going to lean into the variance that Anthony Richardson is bringing to the table. So when you have a bad offense, I'd rather have a bad offense with variance than a bad offense with a quarterback who's going to turtle up, basically. So, I think it's legitimately helpful for them that Russ is just willing to throw moon balls up, and I do feel similarly to you, though. I do think Washington is a bit better. They're at home. I think this maybe opened at 1.5 or something. I think that probably would have been of interest to me.
Right.
At 3, I think we're starting to get into it's pretty fair territory.
Minnesota Vikings on the road at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is on the move to 7 as we speak. By the time you listen to this will be 7. 43.5 is our total. Obviously, the big news here, Trevor Lawrence isn't going to play for the Jags, who are already bad, and now they're without their quarterback, who is middling. So what do you think of Mac Jones over there, Mo?
I think that I'm ready to be surprised, honestly, by Mac Jones. I'm keeping an open mind. This is still a quarterback who was drafted in the first round. This is still a quarterback who showed us some things in his rookie season before everything fell apart.
He's got experience. It's not like they're throwing Jake Hayner out there or whatever and all this stuff. I mean, he's a dude that's played a bunch in the NFL.
And he played for a horrific coaching staff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to throw Bill Belichick under the bus. Mm-hmm. He's one of the best, obviously, if not the best. But Matt Patricia, you just have the absolute worst offensive coaching there, basically. I understand why they wanted to have him brought in as a backup and maybe give him a second chance. I think he could be decent.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to just say the Jaguars are just going to get trucked because they don't have Lawrence. We know that Lawrence has had his issues at times, but man, how are the Jaguars going to get a stop in this game? They can't stop anybody. This Vikings offense is basically a machine. This is another over I'm looking at, man. I mean, 44. This one just might be Vikings team total over, man. How do they not score 27 plus?
Yeah, I agree 100% with all of this. And as this number drifts to 7, and who knows, by the time this hits the masses out there and they hear Trevor Lawrence isn't playing, maybe they really overreact and this thing even blasts through 7. I doubt it. But but the thing is like in a lot of other circumstances, I would be like, okay, this is too much. I need to play the dog here. But with the backup coming, with Mac Jones coming in, not really playing in a while, and then he's going to just face the number 1 blitz rate team in the NFL, the number 1 pressure rate team in the NFL, like Flores might just have him seeing ghosts. And that's not an indictment on Mac Jones. Flores has done that to everybody they played this year, essentially. So, but now it just could be exacerbated, right? Because it is a backup coming in who hadn't played in a hot minute, and great. Now you face this Flores defense that's been just really messing with good quarterbacks and good coaching staffs so far this year, which is why I just can't quite pull the trigger on it. But I'm with you, man. I mean, you're sitting here 43 at one of the places out there right now. An over or a team total over seems really, really nice.
Yeah, I think I'll probably play that on the Vikings. I just this Jacksonville pass defense is horrid, man. And you have a sharp coordinator with an offense that is playing very well, has an elite core of weapons. TJ Hawkinson comes back.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Jags are getting stops here, man. They got pretty much crushed by Philly last week, and I feel like I was very fortunate to get the cover there. So, not going to sit here and think I need to upgrade the Jags much.
Yeah. Patriots on the road at the Bears. This is down to 6. It opened at 7. 38.5 is our total. This isn't really anything more than I think that everybody instantly, Mo, just thought the 7 was too much for the Bears to have to cover. I mean, the Bears, are they really more than a touchdown better? Because again, you have to win by more than 7. Like, are they more than a touchdown better than any team in the NFL? And I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, I took the Bears here down to 6. This is one where I just think you look at Caleb Williams' splits basically when he's been playing defenses with a pulse.
Yep.
He's been horrific. When he plays the worst defenses in the league, he's kind of crushing it at times. So I think this is just back to, those games where he killed the Jags and whatnot. The Patriots are on that level. And you look at this Bears defense, man, they got absolutely flattened by this Cardinals rushing attack last week. But the Patriots don't have that kind of power in their O-line or anywhere even close. So anytime Drake May is basically in a negative script, very bad things, I think, can happen. He was under a lot of pressure, obviously, against the Titans. They struggled to get to 17 points. I think the same thing is going to happen this week. So, yeah, I think the Bears can get back to looking decent. I want to buy them off that horrific performance.
I am a little bit interested just in Drake May rush yards in this game, mainly because he has shown a real propensity to just take off at any given moment. And so there's at least a little bit of something there for me in that. But outside of that, there's just not a lot there. I know a lot of people are bringing up the fact that Chicago's got a couple of offensive linemen that look like they're going to be down. But again, you're bringing in a team that doesn't get any pressure on the quarterback as it is anyway, traded away one of the only other guys on the team that actually was good. Yeah, you'd rather have your starters out there. I get it. But it's like, if you're going to not have your starters out there, you'd probably handpick a few teams, and the Patriots would certainly be one of them to go up against if you're down a couple of offensive linemen,
Yeah, I just think the Patriots are on the level of the teams that what Chicago looked like when they were rolling, And so I think they can look good again in this game. And yeah, if the Bears are playing from ahead, this pass defense is still very good. The pass rush can get home at times with Montez Sweat. I don't think it's going to be a good game for the Patriots, man. I thought I had my fair on the other side of 7 here, so I'm happy to take the 6. I'm surprised that there's been Patriots money.
Titans on the road at the Chargers. This is out to 7.5 at a few places. You can still find expensive 7s. 38.5 to 39 is our total. Every single week, there's always a game where I look at and I say, hey, put this on a rocket, fire it into the sun. I want nothing to do with this game whatsoever, because my gut tells me I should take 7.5 with the Titans, but I'm not doing it again, Mo. I have lost trying to back this Titans team as dogs too many times this year, only to have Will Levis throw the ball underhanded and backwards to other teams and whatever, and Mason Rudolph just completely miss a linebacker and throw it and hit him in the numbers and all of this. And so I can't take it anymore. I'm just going to sit back and I guess it's an afternoon game. I will have it on a TV, but not loving it. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, this Chargers team is a team that I very much trust to flatten bad teams. But I don't think they can raise their level of play against more talented opposition because they just have a mediocre talent level basically across the board. I think they just get a lot of value from their coaching, not making mistakes, et cetera. And that's how you beat the dregs of the league, right? And that's why you see them keep rolling against these bad teams. And I think that's probably going to happen here again. Especially the more they lean into Herbert in their passing game, which they have more.
Yeah, they've actually started to pass. Yeah, they've actually started to pass a lot more.
Yeah, you look at Herbert's box score progression, and he's throwing 18, 22 attempts, whatever, for the first 4 weeks, and then after that Chiefs game, it's completely flipped. It's been like 27 plus attempts in most of these games, which is kind of what you need to do to cover a touchdown. But do I actually want to lay it with the Chargers? Probably not. It's still a decent Titans defense. So, yeah, I don't even know who's playing quarterback for the Titans, man. So
they said they've been working both of them. I mean, seriously, they said they've been working both of them in first-team reps. I'm like, certainly they're not going to do some stupid shit like try to play 2 quarterbacks or whatever. Certainly we haven't gotten to that level of terrible for the Titans, right? Maybe we have.
Yeah, I just think it's such a coaching mismatch too. We haven't seen Callahan really do anything to move the needle, I don't think. Yeah. And then you have Harbaugh coming in and instantly raising the level of competence of everything in this Chargers organization.
Yeah.
Like I said immediately, like 3 weeks in, I was like, okay, this is going to be the bad team crusher. Like this team is just going to crush the bad teams. I'm guessing it happens again, but I still think the line's kind of fair, so I'm just going to leave this one alone.
Yeah, I kind of said this would be the natural thing when I was talking about like the Chiefs being the like teaser leg of the week. I thought that this would be kind of like the natural partner for most people out there. It's like, oh, okay, Chargers at home against the horrible Titans team. Chiefs Chargers teaser feels pretty great to me, and I think that probably a lot of people will have that in their account. Eagles on the road at the Cowboys. This is all the way out to 7.5. It is maybe even, we could see if this thing moves even further. 43.5 is our total. This is another one of those ones. I have a 6 in my account. Like it opened at 6. I'm going, what in the hell? How's this opening at 6? The Cowboys might be down Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Like what in the hell is going on? And so I have the way best of this on the Eagle side of things. Of course, 7.5 is a completely different number. How much confidence do you have in Cooper Rush?
Enough to take the 7.5. Yeah. So hopefully we get, for both of our sake, Eagles by 7 one time. Yeah. Just a spot where, Cooper Rush came in, pretty much played horrible when he was coming in cold. Didn't do anything against the Falcons until absolute garbage time. I still think this number is too high. It's another gross one. I took a couple of gross ones this week.
Yeah.
The Eagles, the way they play football is not conducive to covering big numbers. They want to come out and pound the rock. They're going to shorten the game. I think the Cowboys showed at times they can slow down a decent opposing rushing attack last week. They just flooded the box in a lot of cases and didn't do the worst against a very strong Falcons running game. So, it's still a divisional home underdog getting 7.5 in a spot where now if CeeDee Lamb somehow didn't play, this would be a disastrous bet by me. But he still has a major mismatch against these Philly corners, man. I just think Cooper Rush is going to look a lot better this week when he's had time to take starters reps and actually prepare, So it's gross, but this could be another teaser leg for a lot of people, but I'm just going to take the 7.5.
Of note, Devonta Smith did DNP on Wednesday. He was back limited on Thursday, so that obviously does not mean he's going to play, but good news on the A.J. Brown front is he did full practice on Thursday, so looks like he is going to be able to go for the Eagles. On the CeeDee Lamb front, 2 limiteds in a row, which is good, obviously, so things kind of pointing up there. Also, Trayvon Diggs, 2 limiteds in a row. Doesn't look like Deron Bland's going to get back out there, which would have helped at the corner position. But outside of that, all things considered, Micah Parsons, a couple of limiteds in a row. So Dallas could be having some reinforcements back as well. Jets on the road at the Cardinals. The Jets are 1.5 to 2-point favorites. 46.5 is our total here in this one. So, interesting. We see the Jets play good for once this season, and now they head on the road and are getting a bunch of love. The Cardinals opened, not that this is a significant move, moving through 0, but the Cardinals did open as like a point and a half favorite here, and so this is flipped through the 0 to the other side there with the Jets. Interesting Cardinals squad overall. Interesting Jets squad overall. I can't wait to watch this game, actually. I'm actually pretty excited to watch this one. Is it a bet for you?
Not for me, but I'm with you. Either team could win by 10, and I wouldn't really be surprised here.
For sure. Range of outcomes is massive for this game.
This is a range of outcomes game for sure. I'm leaning to the Cardinals slightly, but I'm concerned about some of these injuries for the Jets' offensive line, man.
Yeah.
3 starters on the injury report. Looks like Elijah Vera Tucker probably isn't going to play. He missed the first 2 practices. John Simpson and Morgan Moses did log practices. It looks like limited on Thursday. Probably going to go, but that's a little bit scary for a team that really needs. Rodgers cannot move like he used to. So
No.
I like the matchup of this Arizona running game against a Jets defense that has been beaten on the ground at times. They do the same thing every game. They're going to play their linebackers 4 yards off the line of scrimmage and let you pound the rock.
Yeah.
And that plays into what the Cardinals want to do, man. I mean, they're happy to take 4 or 5 yards at a time with James Conner. So, I feel pretty good about this Arizona offense here, but I don't know, man. The Jets they did look much better against the They really did clean it up in the second half and play better. And we know this team has enough talent that they just have a much higher talent level than what the Cardinals are throwing out there. So I don't like this coaching staff at all for the Jets, though. I just think they're not making the most of their talent.
Yeah, I'm like you. So I weirdly have this attraction to the Cardinals in this game, yet cannot put it in the account and push the button for whatever reason. Like, I'm sitting here, a lot keeps telling me, like, man, Kyler Murray's going to friggin' scramble because Jets are still running man at like 37% of the time or whatever. It's like every third snap, like Kyler Murray's going to have guys turn with their backs turned to him. And like, dude is like about the best quarterback scrambler outside of Lamar that there is. There's just a lot of things that I keep trying to get myself there, and then I just can't push the button, Mo. So I don't know. Whenever I get to that, I've done this in the past, and typically whenever that happens, I'm like, okay, there's a reason you can't do it. You should probably just stay off of the game, because there's a reason why you didn't want to hit click. So probably just pass on it. But man, I'm gonna hate it if they win at margin. I'm just gonna be like, God damn it, I knew it was gonna happen. All right, maybe the game of the week here. Lions on the road at the Texans. This is 3.5 in favor of the Lions. 48.5 to 49 is our total. I got a push notification as we were going. The Texans finally activated Nico Collins off of IR. So does that mean he plays a full complement of snaps? I thought it was very weird that he DNP'd on Wednesday and Thursday and all of that. So again, not trying to read into anything here, but it's odd, right? I mean, a dude that's been off for 4 weeks, you would think you'd want to get him some practices in 2 straight DNPs or whatever with all of that. I don't know, man. Like, it's just Nico Collins is a game changer. He's leading the damn league in in receiving whenever he went out. So I don't know. This is a tough one for me.
Especially versus these corners, right? Yeah. Like, how can these guys hang with Nico Collins? Yeah. Just reading into the quotes, this is just a field play for me, where I just say it didn't sound like they wanted him to go. So,
right.
I mean, obviously they want him to go, but it didn't sound like they were excited to put him back out on the field. So, I'm not gonna expect him to play at this point. Mm-hmm. I think that I slightly lean Detroit if he's out.
Yeah, me too. It's the same. It's almost like I have to wait to 90 minutes before kick or something,
Yeah, I'm also very concerned about Will Anderson, back-to-back DNPs, I believe. He is extremely important in this game. You got to pressure Goff. He is just going to pick you apart if you don't, and Will Anderson is borderline elite rusher. So major Texans injuries that I just can't really buy into at this point. I just think this is probably close to fair, so I'm not really looking to bet this game.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to leave this with the caveat here for everybody for Sunday night. If Will Anderson and Nico Collins don't go, I will have some sort of exposure to the Lions. Like, I don't know exactly what that is, whether that's a team total, whether it's the spread, whether it's whatever. Like, I will have some sort of exposure here to the Lions, because I think we've seen enough of this Texans offense without him out there to realize that it's just kind of clunky, right? Like, it doesn't function properly without him out there. And so now, especially with Steph Diggs gone too. So I hate to say, like, hey, here's the bet if, but like, kind of like, here's the bet if, that's where I sit on this one. That's just being transparent.
Yeah. A lot of people have not been happy with the way the Texans have played offense. Mm-hmm. I get it. But at the same time, their O-line isn't great, man. Like, they're in a tough spot, especially with the amount of blitzing the Lions typically do. We'll see how that goes. I'm definitely interested in this game as a fan. I want to see how C.J. Stroud looks against this Lions defense that honestly had more. I don't know how they kept the Packers to the points they scored, to be honest, because the Packers had so many big plays, but then just Jordan Love made a huge mistake, missing field goals. I still think this unit is very beatable at this point.
I should mention, I'm also interested to see, I don't think this week might be the week that it's like an actual thing, but I mean, I think the acquisition of Zadarius Smith is not like something to gloss over either, right? Because obviously you lose Aiden Hutchinson, you lose that big time rushing defensive line rush that you have, and not that Zadarius Smith is going to equal Aiden Hutchinson. That's not what I'm saying. But like when you have such a massive gap with no one to plug it, at least you're able to put some duct tape over it right now, right? Instead of letting it just kind of like keep leaking. So I actually like that move for them, which let me know too that they think what I think, that this is the year that you better friggin' press for. Like, this is like the full steam ahead. If there was ever a year for a team like the Lions to win it all, like this would be a year for a team like the Lions to win it all. Outside of the Chiefs, like who the hell is good, So I did see that, but I don't know if I don't know how much of a role he plays here in week 1.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I'm with you though. It's good for them. Zadarius can still play. I mean, he's not elite. He's probably never been elite, but he's always been good, very good, above average player. I think he's still solid, and I like the fit there. I loved this Lions team in the preseason, so I'm like a little bit sad that I tried fading them and got my teeth kicked in last week. I was big on plus 130 for the division, so happy to see them playing well and better than these other teams.
I've got Lions every which way but loose. I mean, division, conference, Super Bowl, Goff MVP, Campbell Coach of the Year. I mean, I have them every which way but loose. So yeah, keep winning games, keep doing what you're doing. You're basically making me money somewhere along the way with all of that. Guys, everything we do absolutely free, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Do appreciate you hanging out with us. Hope you like the more condensed format of the podcast as well, trying to get you guys in and out with the thoughts of these games a little bit quicker. If you want the 3-hour pods, you can go elsewhere. We're not going to give you the 3-hour pods. We're going to give you just like, some quick hitters here with all that. Upper right-hand corner of TheLines.com. Also, that is where you will find the Discord button. That's absolutely free as well. You can go in there and continue the discussion with all of not only Mo and company, but with some community members that love to get in there and talk about all things sports. If you don't have a BetMGM account, read the description down below. We're giving you some free bonus bets, so take advantage of that. More outs with free money is better always. For Mo, I am Matt. Good luck on all your Week 10 bets.